My mom raised a quitter, and it's not on her, it's on me.
Will I get over it? No, but life goes on.
So today, we're gonna look into a list of 13 things I started but I ended up quitting. Last night I was not able to sleep properly, and I went on my notes app, as we do, and I started journaling about how I like to live in extremes. Either you will find me doing nothing in my life, I'll be rotting in bed, I'll be doom scrolling, or you'll find me doing multiple hobbies, pursuing multiple interests all at once in my life. And no, I do not recommend anyone doing that. If anything you can take from this video will be that do not pursue multiple hobbies at once. You have to have the awareness that even if you are pursuing multiple things at once, you won't excel in each of them equally. You cannot assign equal amount of time, equal amount of energy to each of them. That is not practically humanly possible for you, because when it comes to hobbies and interests or even pursuing things for your career, it might take more than you imagined, because when we are in delusion we don't count the external factors which are obviously gonna be a roadblock in our journey. I might not be quoting the phrase perfectly, but I read somewhere along the lines which said that success is nothing but successfully curated failures. And I think I should get straight to the list I made, and enough with the yapping. So, number one, we are starting strong with a psychology degree. Yes, a full blown psychology degree. And technically, I'm still a student enrolled in IGNU for their psychology course, but I don't study for it anymore. I don't give exams for it anymore. And I enrolled myself in the psychology course in 2021. I was super interested in psychology back then. In fact, in my Facebook era, 2017-2018, I was obsessed with Jordan Peterson to the point that any video which pops up on my feed, I will watch it. Whether it's speech, whether it's an interview, whether it's a debate, if it has Jordan Peterson, I will watch it. And in my head, I was like, if I can get even 1% of what he knows, I'll be brilliant in life. And I even gave exams for 2 terms. But my conspiracy theory is that IGNO deliberately failed me. In the exams I even studied for, just so I can retake those exams by giving them a fees. And I don't think so I will get back into formally learning psychology anytime soon. Maybe in my old age, if I have nothing to do, and I'll enroll myself in that course again. So for number two, we got Korean language. I think it's weird that all of my stories are going to be start with me mentioning 2020 and 2021. It shows that I should have made this YouTube channel in 2020 itself, but better late than never. So in 2021, just like everyone else, in my head, I was also like, I'm not gonna waste my time. After this quarantine, I'm going to present the best version of myself to the people. So I decided that I'm gonna learn a language. I did not start learning Korean because of BTS or K-pop. Even though, yes, I was a fan, not was, but I'm still a fan, but not to the point I was back then. Initially, I wanted to learn Japanese, because why not? But I decided to learn Korean language because of my brother. And here's the thing about younger brothers, they are irritating as fuck. His reasoning was, if I'm learning Japanese, you cannot do the same thing, any other language.
but not exactly the same which I am learning.
We had a fight about it, and yes, obviously, I lost in that. So I decided to go with Korean. Like, I can still write Hangul, I can still write names and English words in Hangul. So I still remember what I learned. I even made notes. And I don't think so I'll even go back to learning Korean anytime in future. So number 3, French language. And I was so obsessed with learning French language to the point that I enrolled myself in Alliance Français. And those of you don't know what's Alliance Français, it's a language school in Lodi Road, Delhi. As of now, I know French up to A1.1 because I was not really that attentive in the second term. I got myself into learning French language because of the accent mainly. And somehow we all have grown up romanticizing Paris, even though through my friends who have been to Paris or living in Paris, they tell me that yes, we Indians, we kind of do overly romanticize Paris. And will I get back to learning French? The answer is yes. I will like to assign few minutes or few hours from my daily life to learning French. There's an exam for French which is DELF. I will like to give it and I will like to attempt it. Yeah. Number 4, Morse code. And no, it's not because of Parasite. So here's a story of why I wanted to learn Morse code. So back in 2023, I was walking in my park during evening. So there's an apartment building just beside that. And I was on call, I was looking up, and one of an apartment in that building had a flickering light. And my brain was telling me, Kushi, that flickering light is giving you signal. Someone is trying to get your attention through that signal. You have to interpret it. And no, it was not a signal. My brain was just cooking up stories. But at that time, I went straight to my home. I went on Google, looked up Morse code. I gave 7 days to learning it. I even learned it at one point. But the truth is, I forgot whatever I learned. Because obviously, why would I use Morse code in my daily life? And that's what happens when you don't use the thing you learn. You forget about them. So the question is, will I get back to learning Morse code? The answer is no. Because why do I need it in my life, in my brain? Number 5, headstand. And see, usually when people say that they want to do a headstand, it's because of health reasons, it's because of the athletic reasons, right? That they can do this particular hard stuff with their body. But the intention or the reason behind me wanting to learn a headstand, because it's cool, it looks really cool, and like I imagine myself telling people that
Yes, I do know how to do a headstand.
and I believe this is why even after doing home workouts for last 5 years I've been not able to do a headstand, because my intention only is not good behind it. I want external validation and I have no shame for wanting it, because think about telling people that you can do headstands. So will I quit it or not? I'm clearly looking forward to do a headstand in future, and this video is going to be a reminder for me to train for it. Number 6, cartwheel. Since I was a child, I used to see these cool but sometimes weird kids who used to show off that they know how to do a cartwheel. On the other hand, I was that kid जिसको रिश्तेदार बोलते हैं कि आपका बच्चा तो हेल्दी है. Like I was not fat, but I was not skinny either. तो रिश्तेदार मेरे को हेल्दी बच्चा बोल के जाते. And on top of that, I was not into any sports. I was not athletic. So obviously, I didn't learn how to do a cartwheel as a child. But as I grow up, I found it more fascinating. I also want that external validation when people will see me do a cartwheel. And yes, it is one of the things I will not like to quit it. I will like to train myself for it. I will like to do a cartwheel in future. For number 7, we got crocheting. And here's a backstory of it. My mom was so against of me learning to crocheting because her reasoning was that I'm just learning for the aesthetic purposes and that shouldn't be the case to learn any skill. Little did she know. And on the other hand, I was so invested in learning crocheting. I bought myself the whole crocheting kit from Amazon. I had my friend's mom teaching me crocheting. She used to teach me half an hour every day. And I did even make a small hat, which I don't have anymore. Will I go back to learning crocheting anytime soon? No. But in future, for sure. Because think about you knowing a skill which will give you infinite number of clothes in whatever style you want. Number 8, driving a scooty. And it's a funny thing that the first day I tried to learn how to drive a scooty is the very day I quit it, or I had to quit it, because I obviously crashed myself and the person who was teaching. On top of that, I was trying to learn driving a scooty during my board exams. So obviously my parents were against it. But after that I totally forgot that I even wanted to learn it. And I got more inclined towards learning how to drive a car instead of a scooty. Number 9, riding a cycle. And you may be thinking that yes, it might be my childhood interest or childhood hobby, but it turns out I did know how to ride a cycle when I was a child, but I obviously stopped cycling and I totally forgot how to ride a cycle. But I'm 23 years old. It's quite shameful that I do not know how to ride a cycle. So, definitely this year I'm planning to officially learn it by taking help of my mom or my younger brother. And also because I believe it's a really cool workout. I get really bored with running and workouts. Number 10, MIT course on neuroscience available on YouTube. So, back in January this year, I was trying to find a good course on this particular subject, and it happened to be available on YouTube for free. So, that's why initially I was super consistent with the lectures uploaded on YouTube. And I don't think so I have officially quit this thing, but I stopped watching it after a few lectures. I don't know why, but yeah, this is something I'm going to restart as soon as I get the time because only few lectures are left. And I'm going to go back to the notes I made through the lectures I took. Number 11, English poetry. And see, I wrote my first ever English poem when I was 16. And that was a complete accident. That was a complete random event that happened on a random June afternoon during my summer vacations. And when I wrote my first ever English poem, I was so happy that I started writing more. I have written around 50 English poetry till now. But from last 2 years, I don't know what is happening. I'm not able to write English poetry as much as I can write Hindi poetry. I don't know, I've tried to read English poetry, I've tried to get inspiration from different areas, but it's not coming from within. And I always used to write poetry intuitively. So when it's not coming from within, it's not gonna happen. And see, here's the thing, I don't think so I have officially quit this thing. I'm not able to pinpoint to why I'm not able to write English poetry anymore. So yeah, I have no clear answer whether I will restart it or not because it all depends on my brain and like how it will work and how it will produce poetry. Writing a novel. And yeah, I think this is going to be the first time I'm ever going to be talking about this. I haven't even shared this thing with my friends, I guess. I tried writing a novel this year in June, even made a rough plot line, a rough character sketch, but when it came to the part that I had to write content for it, chapters, I stopped. I don't know, I got fearful or like what, but I just couldn't write it. Again, I tried taking inspirations from multiple sources, I tried reading novels. Maybe I got really fearful about it, that I'll be bad at it. That's why I even stopped myself from starting it. Yeah, I think I will not quit it officially. I will write a novel in future for sure, but maybe not anytime soon. Coming to the last part. 13 number is me sending 30 to 60 second daily news snippets to my friends. So I always believed that I'm gonna be famous, I'm gonna be rich, and I'm gonna be called to TEDx talk. Besides me being delusional, I was also really worried that when TEDx will call me, I will not be able to speak properly in front of a crowd. I'll fumble my vocabulary, I'll fumble my words. So that's why I decided every day I'm gonna make 30 to 60 second video from the daily news I read and I'll share it with my friends. And at that time I was not creating content. My Instagram account was private and I used to create 30 to 60 seconds video, share it with my friends and ask them for their feedback. And I think I killed with the idea. It was such a good idea. I will highly suggest everyone to follow it. Even if you don't want to create content, you can take your fear out of facing a camera. You will be updated with all the current affairs happening in the world. And the reason behind why I stopped it, because my newspaper wale bhaiya used to bring the newspaper in noon. Generally around the time I used to go for my lunch. And there's something about newspapers and mornings. They just work together and I cannot have them any other way. So that's why I stopped it. So will I continue it? No, I don't think so. I don't like reading news anymore. And since I've started creating content for public, I don't think so it will be needed for me to create personal content for my friends. This should be able to take my fear out of facing the camera. So the whole intention of me sharing this weird list is that you fuck around and find out. And I know it might come across as a little bit harsh, but I do think that you should be shameful, and we should be shameful about not sticking to the things we were interested in the beginning, not putting in much efforts in the things we really wanted, not being consistent with it, getting distracted from other things, not being able to manage our time and priorities to pursue anything. And why do we divert ourselves when it comes to facing the guilt for not being able to do things, and change our opinions when it comes to facing and accepting our own shame and guilt? Own it that your life is not over. You can have multiple tangents. So remember, even if you go on different tangents, different phases in your life, different interests in your life, ultimately you will create multiple branches that will give you different type of fruits. And when you'll see your life as a roller coaster, every up will give you anxiety and every down will give you anxiety and fear and no hope. So yeah, just be hopeful even if you take on 30 things and end up quitting them.